starting. Ve'ein.
We were holding.
Lamed Zayin over here. Lamed Zayin, Lamed Beis, Ve'ein. Till now we learned that there was a krisis bris on every mitzvah, and the krisis bris was 48 brises that the conditioner they says. Lumadarish Mugasas 3 times come out to 48. So now, being that he talks about how it worked by Kabbalah Torah, so he's going to tell you another thing. It's not in Nachazach it says, "Ve'ein lecho akol devar mitzvah shebatayra sheksuva batayra shleniknas aleh aboim u'shmoina brises." On every mitzvah in the Torah, there was 48 brises. I mean, the 48 is the 3 times Luma Dolama Vishnu Bogasas. Rav Shimon ben Yehuda Ish Kvar Aku Oma Mishum Rav Shimon a little different. Ein lecha mitzvah u'mitzvah shebatzuva b'Torah shlenitnas oleha aboim u'shmoina brises shel sheish meis elef v'shloishes alafim v'chamesh meis v'chamishim. So what's the difference between the two of them? What's one adding? So the Gemara Amar Rabbi said, "V'divrei Reb Shimon ben Yehuda ish kvar aku, she'amar Shom Reb Shimon ein lecho kol mitzvah shebatayra shenichas alesh abor shmoina brises shel shishim u'elef v'shloish shalaf." So according to him, nimtzah komtois v'chol echad v'echad miyisol sheish meis elef shloishes alafim v'chamesh meis v'chamishim. And my benayu amar b'shasha arba v'arba ika benayu. In other words, how much is a person responsible? Is every person responsible for another Jew, or is also responsible for the other Jew that the other is responsible? Okay, let's go further now. Zate Mordarish Rabbi Yehuda bar Nachmani Mehu Gamanyo. Metugamina. He was the Metagaman. In other words, they used to have the Seder that the Rosh Hashiva would give a share, but he didn't say loud to everybody. They didn't have loudspeakers those days. So he would actually say to someone, and that someone would say it over loud to the people. That's called a Metugaman. Somebody once introduced Rabbi Yael as the Metugaman, and it was corrected that Rabbi Yael was a chayzer, not a Metugaman. Mm-hmm. Okay, because the Rebbe spoke to everybody, and Rabbi Yael repeated it. So he's a chayzer, he's not a Metugaman. The Metugaman was because the Rosh Hashiva didn't talk to everybody. Right. He only spoke to him, and he said it over.
But it makes a lot of sense, because why did Meturgaman says over the
yeah, but the person speaking only speaks to the Meturgaman, and the Rebbe spoke to everyone.
Yeah. Oh, that Turgaman, you didn't hear the.
Yeah, but a few people who were close heard it. Most people didn't hear him.
So it was the Meturgaman of
Rabbi Shimon and
Kol Parsha Kula v'nemra el b'noyev v'ne'efes. That means that this is by Har Gris and Har Evel, there were 11 things. I think it was 11 that they said order this. So it sounds like it's all different things, but he says no. They're all speaking about really one subject, about adultery. It's called b'noyev v'ne'efes. L'mashal. He says order ish ashiyasa pesel masecha. In fact, the Gemara is going to prove his point now. Because l'chayre means to say that someone made an avodah zarah. So, in fact, the Gemara, but order sagile. For that, it's just order. He should be cursed. It's a terrible thing. Is avodah zarah is one of the worst avodas that there could be. Ella Ze haba ala eva. He's connecting it now in this subject. Haba ala eva, v'hoyle ben, v'holach gebein oivik achavim, v'oved avodas kachavim. So arurim over v'imay shazeh shekach gomolay. They gave birth to him. They brought him to the world, and you see where it ended up. So l'chayra.
My mom says he was buried, so he went away.
So the order is not for the dafka for the issa that the parents did, but for what the outcome of the issa, which l'chayra, that has nothing to do with the issa that they did. But for that is order. Since the Matan Rabban, Shetan Posik, Vesatas Abracha HaGrisim, Vesakola Ahadevo. My Talmud Lema, Im Lamed, what's the question? So Gemara says, Im Lamed, if he wants to teach you, Shetei Bracha HaGrisim, Vekola Ahadevo, Harekva Nema, Elu Yamdu Levorech Sa'om HaGrisim, Uksiv Elu Yamdu Levorech Sa'om HaGrisim. So what it's redundancy. Ella, wants to teach you lahagdim bracha l'kola. The first comes the bracha and then comes the kola. What does that mean? Yochel, I would think, yeh kola brachas kodemas l'kolas. That first you do all the brachas and then you do all the kolas. Talmud Lema, bracha l'kola, bracha achas kodemas l'kola. That the ain kol brachas kademas l'kolos. It's what bracha kola. And also, lahakish, he wants to put together the bracha with the kola together. Lahakish to teach the following: lahakish bracha l'kola, lemeloch. Makol b'luviyim, al bracha b'luviyim. Umakol b'korom loud, al bracha b'korom. Umakol b'lashon kodesh, al bracha b'lashon kodesh. Umakol b'kal b'prat, like we said before, al bracha b'kal b'prat. Umakol elu v'elu einim v'einim amen, al bracha elu v'elu einim v'einim amen. Incidentally, I'm not going to go into it now, but if you want to look it up, Rashi is going to tell you how all the 11 things, how they all got to do with Naif and the Ephes. Okay, now we'll start next mission. We're going into now the subject of Birchas Kainim. So what the Mishnah said, Birchas Kainim case. How did Birchas Kainim work? So the Medina, that means out of the Beis HaMikdash, Oima Oisa Sholish Brachos. You say 3 separate brachos. Migdash in the Beis HaMikdash, Bracha Achas. They said all 3 together because they want mafsik by each one to answer Amen. Incidentally, I explained to you many times that in davening when we said so the question is Mashrash B'Tayra or B'Tayra Ksuva? And I showed.
I understand the question. What's the question?
I'm asking a question.
Where do you stop? Where's the pause? Where's the comma?
Is it Bracha Amashuleshes, B'Tayra Ksuva de Moshe Rabbeinu, or Bracha Amashrash B'Tayra, which is Ksuva de Moshe Rabbeinu? So the Rebbe says that you should say Ochenu Baruch Amshlashes B'Tayra, Aksuva de Moshe Rabbeinu. So what does it mean Amshlashes B'Tayra? That means that in the Torah it's 3 separate brachos, and in the Beis HaMikdash it's not. That's why we emphasize Aksuva Amshlashes B'Tayra, that in this mission over here, that in the Torah it's 3 brachos, we're not all over.
So you're supposed to stop over there.
Right.
Because we say 3 brachas? Because we say 3?
No, because they don't say Amen in Beis Hamikdash at all.
In the Torah, it's three separate brachas. It's 3 separate psukim, no. Another thing is, the Mikdash, Aima es Hashem kiksavai.
Yudkei Vavkei.
The Yudkei Vavkei. Uva Medina bechinua.
We say Hashem.
I always say that there's a group that call themselves the witnesses, but there's a word before that. That word before that is
Kesavai. Yes, right now let's say that.
Is Yudkei Vavkei, the way it's printed with the Nekudas.
But they say with the J. The real thing is not with a J.
It's
Still saying the Abish's name?
yeah. Nachazach, the Mishnah says, the Medina in Arab Beis HaMikdash, Kahanim Nois and Shideim, Keneged Kasfeim. In other words, parallel with their shoulders. And over Mikdash, Al Gabi Rashayim. They listed over the head. Rashi says that the time is because the Shechina is over there, L'mayla Merashayim, so because the Shechina, they...
But the Kohen Gadol can't, because he can't put his hands on
Chutz the Kohen Gadol, except the Kohen Gadol, She'ena Magbiya as Yodel L'mayla Me'atzitz. He can't raise his hand higher than the tzitz. And then the tzitz said, Kodesh Hashem. If you don't have Kohen Gadol Magbiya Yodel L'mayla Me'atzitz, Shenema Sheba Yisa Aran Es Yodov, Elohim Vayivocha. So what's the Vayisa, what's the Chiddush? That he raises his hand high, just like everyone does. So tomorrow, Tona Rabban, Shaitan Pastor Kodesh, that means B'Rosh HaKodesh. Atam B'Rosh HaKodesh, Eino B'chol Roshan. So the Gemara, Nema Kan Kodesh V'Ochu. Nema Hal Elu Yamdu L'Vorech Asam, by Hagriz HaRevo, Mala Halam B'Rosh HaKodesh, Afkan B'Rosh HaKodesh. Rabbi Yehuda says, we don't need a raya from there, but ain't it sorach? We don't need why? Because that means this is how
the way you should say it.
Tanya Idach, we go into another brayso. The Kohanim should be standing. Atam b'amida ein el afilu b'yeshiva. Even while they're sitting. Actually, sometimes that Bamida means that the person that's receiving the bracha should be standing. That's why there's sometimes people that, when they say the Birchas Kainim in Davni, they stand up.
Right, I do that.
Nema kan koisa vochel. V'nema halan elu yamdu. V'vorech. Maila halan Bamida. Avkan Bamida. Rav Nosson, I'm ein tzarech. Why? Because he says, L'shosoi, Ulevorech b'shmoim, and Meshores is Ba'amida. Af Mevorech Ba'amida. In fact, the Gemara Meshores Gufa Minor, how do we know that Meshores?
It has to be.
When they say, they say, La'amoid L'shores. Tanya Yidach, we learned another thing. It's all dinam in Birchas Kainim. Kaisa Baruchu, V'nesiyas Kapayim, raising the hand. Ata, V'nesiyas Kapayim, who says you have to raise your hands? So the Gemara, Nema kan koisavochu. V'nema how v'yisa aran es yodav elhom b'yivorachem malahom b'sis kapayim, because you say v'yisa aran, he raised his hand. Avkam b'nesiyas kapayim. In fact, the Gemara is that Rabbi Yehuda had a question. If you're going this way, so imal halan kohen gadol b'rosh chodesh v'avodas siva avkan kohen gadol b'rosh chodesh v'avodas siva. Maybe it's only limited. Only these times you could do birchas kohenim, because that's how it was by Aaron. That was by the miluyim, which was the chodesh. It's like the mother of Nosson Ayman ain't a tzarech. It's like it's not a question. It's not a question. Why? Hareyu who bonav kavayomim mele makish bonav loy ma hu b'nesiyas kapayim Arbona b'Nesir Kapayim. This is not on the answer of the days one.
It's
But
about
on
the
the
hands.
Indian Nesir Kapayim. Uksiv
Save Kol Hayom.
Kol Hayomim. So Kol Hayomim. So it's not only those days. And v'Ishkas Bielas Brach Ol Hushedas. That has to do with Ba'amido. Tanya either with another brisa. Kaisavos when they saw the shame HaMeforish. To say the shame HaMeforish, the Yud Kei Vav Kei.
We don't do that today.
Good. Atoim the shame HaMeforish. Ein El Bekinu. Kinu the shame Adni. Alav Dal Nun Yud. Talmud Reimer. Besama Shmi. Shmi HaMeyuchadri. So Yochel have big volume, even not in the base of English. Cain is the same thing. Nemakan v'somu eshmi, v'nala halan losum eshmai sham. So mala halan base of Chira, because sham over there he puts his name. Avkan the base of Chira. And Rabbi Yashem, you don't need this approach to show that it's not all over. No, Rabbi Yashem, Ein Tzorach, Areyu Omer, B'chol Mokum She'ask Shmi Over Elecha, and so B'chol Mokum Sha'Gadaita, the Eibush is going to come around in every place. Ella Mikvah Zem Farish, who B'chol Mokum She'over Elecha Uberachticha, Shom Asker Shmi. And where is that? That is in V'hechem Over. Where do I come? Elecha to you, Uberachticha. I come b'beis b'chira. Is shown asker eshemi b'beis b'chira.
So if you don't, if it's not a base of Chida, so the Abish is not going to bench us?
That's where the Abish is a megala. Nothing more. Tanya Idoch, Kois Baruchas B'nai Yisrael. Any other B'nai Yisrael, you have to. That's how you should bench Yidden. Gedim. V'noshim ba'avodim v'shachrorim minayin. How do you know you have to bench them also? Talmud Reimer Amar Lahem. Amar Lahem is l'kul to everybody. Tanya Yidach. Kaisa Baruchu. Another thing. Ponim keneged ponim. That the Kohanim should face the people.
And the people should face the Kohanim.
Right. Well, they're facing each other.
Yeah, because
She said, Atoim ponim keneged ponim. Ela eino ela ponim keneged of Eiref. In other words, the Kohen, when he goes up, he's facing over there. So who says he turns around to face the people? Maybe he stands over there and he benches, and you're facing his back. Talmud Reimer Amar Lahem. Say to them, says a person who speaks. When you speak to someone, you face him. Tanya Idach, Kois Baruchu B'kol Ram. Ein El B'lachash. Talmud Reimer Lahem. To them, Ka'adam Shoym L'Chaveirah. If it's B'lachash, he wouldn't hear you. Now the Gemara says an interesting din. Amar Abayim, Naktinan. Naktinan means we know, or it's accepted. L'shnayim Kaida Kahanim. In other words, when it comes by Birchah Kahanim, then it comes to word Kahanim. So it's only if there's two Kahanim there. So if there's two, you say the word Kahanim. V'loi u'echad. I'm sorry, not u'echad, and to one ain't a kaida. You don't say it all. So the chazan is quiet,
and the
Kohen knows already that he has to start. Shenema Amar Lehem. Lehem is L'shnayim. V'yam Reb Chisda. Now this is a very strange din. Listen to this one. Naktinan, we know, Kohen Kaida Kahanim, Ve'en Yisrael Kaida Kahanim. What he's saying is that only if the chazan is a Kohen does he say Kahanim, like he's talking to his brothers. But if he's a Yisrael, they're not your brother. What is Kahanim? It's not right. It doesn't sound right. Shenema, Amor Lahem, Amira Mishulahem. It should come from them. And Mishlam Tehei. V'hilchos Kabbalah Dabaya, that there's a difference if there's one kohen or there's two kahanim.
But not
And the less hilchos Rav also the Reb Chisda,
that
that even if it's a Yisrael,
also
you can
calls
say
out the word
kahanim. Okay, let's go right in the Gemara. Skip the parentheses, this is a simon. Many times the Gemara gives a simon how to remember certain things. So if you remember the simon, you'll remember the thing that they want to talk about. Something was like,
Is it true? Is
What?
it true that the Rebbe said once that if he would have a koyach, he would put in that every day they should make it like in Eretz Yisrael they make birchas kahanim every day. If he would have koyach, he would.
yeah, but L'Poel he didn't. L'Poel we don't do it here in Chutz La'aretz.
The Ashkenazim don't.
By the Sfardim they do it. Something Gemara. Omne b'Shubban Levi. Shubban Levi says that, Minayin, how do we know? Shakadosh Baruch Hu Mis'ave l'Biras Kain. The Eivisher like desires Biras Kainim. He says, Shenema, steht in Posuk, V'samma Shmi al B'nai Yisrael v'ani avarachem. In other words, if you do it, I will bench them. So the simon that he's enjoying it. V'yomer Rabbi Shubban Levi. Kol Kain Mevarech Mizbarech. This is where the expression many times the Rebbe used to call Mevarech Mizbarech comes from. This is where the source for that saying. Shenem Valvocha Mevarechecha. So you see that the ones that's good benches is good bench. V'yom Rav Shubban Levi. Kol Kain Sheina Oilu Duchen Oiva B'Shloisha Esa. He's over on 3 mitzvahs asay. One is Kaisavachu, and a Morlahem, and a Samma Shmi. So it's three things that he's over. Rav says it's even a bigger problem. Choshishin, we're concerned, Shema ben Grusha ben Chalusahu, and that's why he didn't go.
Maybe he's a chalal.
In other words, it's not two separate things. It depends what the case is. How the soul geproken, how the low soul geproken. If he goes up sometime, so he can't be choshesh the ben Gush ben Chalusa, because he went sometimes. But he's over, if he only went sometimes and didn't go other times, the times that he didn't go, he's over on 3 Esa. V'yam Rav Shubban Levi. Kol kain shein ba'avoda. Avoda means ritzei. It starts with say, that's the time when the Kohanim have to go up. Shuv ein ha'oila. Shenem ha'shetin pasuk. Vayisa Aaron es yodav ela'om vayvorchem. Vayered me'asais ha'chatas. V'ha'oila v'ashlomim. In other words, he finished doing this. So he went from, you see that it's connected with the avoda. Ma'ila halam avoda, over there he was doing the avoda, afkam b'avoda. In fact, the Gemara Eini, it doesn't sound right. Why not? V'harav Ami v'Rabasi, who are Kahanim, sulky, and they went up, and they didn't go up. They didn't go up b'shas avoda. So how do you make a statement that you have to go b'shas avoda? Zot the Gemara, Rab Ami v'Rabasi, me'ikra havi akre me'ikara in the beginning, have akri karat mayo. They would uproot their feet. In other words,
Make them
and b'mamta like havi, they didn't reach it ad mota hasam. In other words, let's say they stood over here. So when it came to say, they started going. They didn't get to up here. When they got here, it was very time for the dukkha, but they started already going by avodah. Ukedetoni Rabbi Shia, and we find that Rabbi Shia said that that's the way you should conduct yourself, because he said Lo shonu, that you have to go by avodah elo shlei oka esragov. Av oka esragov, then he could go to dukkha. Because they used to go up, like over here, you go up. So that they used to go up to the place. Utanan nami, im after chosai, shenoises kapav, v'choisa good filosai, rashoy, that means that's it. The din is, the shaila is, if the chazan's a kohen, should he do birchas kahanim or not? So we're saying that Abidin he shouldn't. Why not? Because he can get mixed up and he wouldn't know how to get back into the track of davening. But if he should, but today it's not a shugga, that we have a siddur in front of us. On August night they used to daven by heart. So they're saying that if the chazan knows that he'll be able to get back on to the davening, even so then he can conduct the birchas kahanim. So the question is, so what's the question? So we have a question about this halacha. What's the question? The chazan stands on his place; he doesn't move. You just said that you have to start going.
At least move.
So how does it work out if he's a chazan? And for the Gemara, Ella do not put him. He moves a little bit in his space. So same thing that makes us say, what's that? He started going. And over here, they started going. It's not that you have to be up there by Avodah, but you have to start by the Avodah.
So the chazan moves his foot.
Hachinami, the Oka Porter, that you yaitzu with that.
Moving a little bit.
So the Gemara. Now the Gemara says another thing. This is being that we're talking about birchas kahanim, talking about bracha. So this is about brachas, not about kahanim. Listen to this. V'am Reb Shulman Levi. Ein noisen kaishel bracha levorech el letoiv ayin. You give someone that has a good eye, that's generous. Shenem eshet posek toiv ayin hu yivayrach. So posek teaches kinosim ulach al dol. That means that the toiv ayin should be benched. So the Gemara articulate yivayrach el yivarech, that he should bench. I don't
understand what kosher bracha means. What do you mean?
If you're eating a meal,
Yeah.
And you have to bench.
you have guests on the table, so the balabas is the one that benches, not the guest.
You need toiv ayin. I understand. What's coming to
He's a good person. He gave food, no?
Oh, so
he gave food to people, no?
He gave food, so it's toiv
Yes,
ayin.
he's good. He's not stingy.
Kol hanesin ba'ayin yofen nesin.
So the Gemara. Now, so the Gemara says an interesting thing. The Amar Rabbi Shulman Levi, minayin shafil oifus makirim b'tzorei ayin. The oifus can recognize if the balabas is a stingy person or not. How do we know that? So the shenem eshet posek ki chinom mezoyra hareshes be'enei kol bali konof. That means that when you want to catch the fish, so you have a net. And how do you have the net? How do you catch them with the net? You put bait in the net. So if he's stingy, he puts very little, and if he's not stingy, he puts a lot. And the fish already know to recognize who's out there trying to catch them.
Yeah.
That the more V'amar Shulman Levi. Yeah, if you benefit from someone that's stingy, so it's an aveda. We'll soon explain it. Shenem Mashet Pasuk Al Tilcham Eslechem Ra'ayin Ayin. Don't take the bread from a person that's stingy. Ki Kamoi Shar Benafshay. Like it's custom gesundheitstes. It came who the same achal v'shay yom malach. He'll tell you achal v'shay. He'll tell you eat and drink, but he really doesn't mean it. Right. So you're torturing him by taking the
taking up the offer.
So and Reb Nachman Yitzchak over b'shnei ravim. It's even worse. Al tilcham Al tichel means don't take the bread. The soul, I think it means like don't desire his. Don't desire his. Zak the Gemara, speaking about stinginess, the Omar Rabbi Shua ben Levi, Ein egra rufa bo ela b'shvil tzarei ayin. In other words, the need of an egra rufa was caused. That means that the person was found dead.
Because he didn't have what to eat.
So because of the tzarei ayin, the Gemara is going to explain it now. Shenem steht in Pasuk, v'onu v'omru, steht in the Zakanim should say, Yadeinu l'shavcha as Adam hazeh. Fragt the Gemara v'chi Allah, v'chi alibeinu also shazikne bezdin shavcha domim, that they have to make a declaration that they didn't. Elo, it means like ba liyadeinu, v'patanu b'loy, v'patanu v'loy So what's the shot? That means that there's two things they're saying. If he would have come to us, we would have given him food.
And then we would be malav
and we would have been malav him, we would accompany him out. And so we didn't do it. So the simon that he didn't get his needs.
If he didn't get his needs.
So I always explain this. What's the shot? How could this
situation?
How could this cause that the person should be killed? So I said that the gangsters look for someone
Easy target.
that's easy pride. If someone came to a place and they left him and they didn't give him food and they didn't so he goes away very depressed. And when he goes away very depressed, the gangster senses it. And he figures, he'll be easy for me to do something what I shouldn't be doing. So that's why they say over here that this is the cause. So the tzarei ayin that didn't provide for this person caused that you should end up with a need for egar rufa.
They made him have more tzaras.
Now we're going back to the Kahanim. So in the meantime, we went before about Kahanim. Going back to Kahanim. Something Gemara, Oma, Rav Samloi, Beisak Nesset Shekol Kahanim. If the whole shul is Kahanim, so what do you do with Birchas Kahanim? He says, Kulam Einim Uduchim. They all go up to the Bima to Duchim. So who do they give who they benching? Amar of Zayda, Lachayim Shabbasotis. There's people that is out in the field that couldn't come to shul, so they're giving brachas to those people. In fact, the Gemara Eini, that can't be. V'atana Abba Bereiderev Minyamin Bachio Am Shachayre Akahanim Einim B'Kal Bracham Umashal. Let's say that the Kahanim are standing over here by this table, okay? So the people that will be standing over there are not in the call, they don't get the bracha. Only the people that are in front of the Kahanim, not in the back of the Kahanim. The people that are Amsha Besodes are behind the Kahanim. So how can they're not in front of the Kahanim. So how can you say that they get the bracha? And for the Gemara, like Kasha, ha the Anisi, ha the Anisi. It depends. Why are they behind the Kahanim? If that no one forced them to get, they don't care about it. They don't want to be seen by the Kahanim, so they don't get the bracha taka. But we're talking about people that couldn't come to shul, but they want to get the bracha. So their bracha goes to these people. That's the Gemara. V'atani Rav Simi mi birsa the Shechayri. It means, the Simi was, Birsa the Shechayri means the capital of Shechayri. Like we have in the Megillah, Shushan Abira, the capital. So, Birsa the Shechayri. Beis HaKnesses, Shekua Kahanim, Miktsosum Oivim, or Miktsosum Oinim Omin. So it's a different thing entirely. You saw before they all go up and they're benching the Amshabu Sodas. You see over here, no. Some go, and so they're not benching the Amshabu Sodas. They're benching their brothers. So the Gemara, Rekasha. Hodi Ishtaya Bei Asara, Hodi Ishtaya Bei Asara. This is a din of Shulchan Aruch. It's a little bit of strange din, but there's a din of Shulchan Aruch. Let's say in a shul that there's 16 people in shul, and they're all kahanim. So then 6 go up to Duchen, and 10 remain down here. So they have a tzibur that they're benching. V'yizu Moshe, let's say, if there's a shul that there's 8 kahanim, and you don't know, so then all 8, or not even that there wouldn't remain 10 to receive the bracha. So if there remains 10 to receive the bracha, so the ones that went up are giving the bracha to the ones that didn't go up. But if there is not 10 to receive the bracha, then they all go up and they're benching Amsha B'Sodas. Something Gemara, Tana, Abba Berei, the Reb Minyamin, Reb Chia, he says as a Amsha Chayre Kahanim Ein Mekal Bracha. That the way I explained it, because if the Kahanim are standing over here and people are standing over here behind the Kahanim, they're not Mekal Bracha. So the Gemara says the following: Pshita, this is for sure that Ariche Ba'ape Gutzi Loi Mafsiki. That means that listen, if let's say the Kahanim are here, and over here standing very tall people, and they're blocking the short people. So do they get the bracha or not? So he said no. He said the tall people that are in front of the short people are not considered that they're blocking them. Then the Gemara says, Pshita, Richabab Gutzi, Loi Mafsika. Teva, Loi Mafsika. If there's, let's say, the table, what you're laying on, and people, it's in front of some of the people, it's also not a hefsek. Mechitza, what if there's a mechitza, a regular partition, they have a partition in the shul, is that a hefsek or not? So is it considered Amsha Chayre Kahanim? So Timor Toshma, the Amma Rabbi Shul Ben Levi, Afil Mechitza Shal Basil, Eina Mafsekes, Bein Yisrael Ravim Shebashamayim. Okay, stop over here.
Simon B'Toyim.
Okay, huh?
Simon B'Toyim.
Yeah, we almost were catching up.
We learned the halachas with Alter Rebbe.
Right, we learned it.
I know we learned this, so good. So where do you think
Alter Rebbe
where do you think Alter Rebbe took it from?
Right, it's the same what Alter Rebbe said.
You don't tell some the Rambam.
I never saw Chassid after that.
What about the Beide mit dem Zaynish?
He was a translator. He was a official translator, yeah. But that's what his title was. His title was he was a translator.